Thank you guys so much, even though you don't know me, I guess.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm kidding. Yes, so I'm actually reading some stuff from my book, which I did not write for this, but that's okay, because I did decide to read stuff about boning, because that's what I thought everybody else would write about. Oops. Okay. So I've just got 2 short pieces. The first one's called, let's see, Alien Vacation. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The two aliens are a bingo game. They're confused. They're not used to bingo games, and they're trying to understand Earth culture, but Earth culture is very hard to understand. One of them buys a ticket for a side game and starts chewing on the cardboard. The other makes marks with the dauber on his hand. Let me tell you something about these aliens. This is their honeymoon. The word is out about San Francisco as the #1 tourist location, not just in French-speaking countries, but on other planets, too. Alien tourists love this place. How you can tell an alien tourist is that they look like a German, but they speak perfect English. Also, they don't have the Lonely Planet. They have this other guidebook that directs them to the Outer Richmond, the Taco Bell on 3rd Street, and always bingo. The aliens have been at bingo for a few minutes only. They paid in cash. They love each other very much in an alien way, which is completely different from a human way. The alien way of loving someone else very much is they're 100% sure that the other alien exists. The aliens are in love, so they have sex. This is how. First, they look at each other in the eyes. They do this for a long time, 10 whole minutes. This is considered highly romantic. Sometimes they blink. After 10 minutes, Alien 1 spreads her fingers out on the table. Alien 2 does the same thing. Alien 1 inches her fingers over a little, towards Alien 2. Alien 2 also inches. They do this slowly. The Vietnamese lady across the table from them doesn't even notice they're moving. She doesn't even think they're strange. She's very serious about bingo. Alien 1 inches her fingers more, then Alien 2. They each inch some more until their fingers are touching. Alien 1 lets her hand glide over Alien 2's hand, slowly. She feels the texture of his skin. He feels the texture of her skin. Her hand stops. They hold still like that, one hand on top of the other. They're having alien sex. It's totally appropriate to have alien sex in public, even on their planet. Everyone does it. Their parents have sex in front of them all the time. Aliens even do it at work. The aliens have sex for 2 more hours, and then the Vietnamese woman gets a big bingo and she tells them they've been very good neighbors and gives them each a $5 bill. They leave the bingo hall and walk to the freeway, another hotspot on the alien tourist San Francisco guide. At the freeway, they throw rocks at cars and Alien 2 shoves the bill up his nose. After a while, they teleport home to their planet. The guidebook says the cops will be coming. It's true, the cops will be coming any minute. And my second story is called Baby. After the whole thing went down, the tidal wave, which we told you about, and the earthquake, the fires, and the meteorite hitting Germany, I don't really have anything against Germany, I just want to say that now. We sold all of our... I'm going to start over. After the whole thing went down, the tidal wave, which we told you about, and the earthquake, the fires, and the meteorite hitting Germany, we sold all of our water for guns and flak jackets and walked north during the nights when it was cool enough to be outside. Right before daybreak, we would find basements or dig caves, and then one of us would find a sleeping person and steal as much of their water as we could, without killing them if possible, and then we would hide. We were having a lot of sex back then. The condoms had all been used as germ shields for amputees, but we assumed neither of us could get pregnant due to all the radiation from the bomb the English dropped when they couldn't think of anything else to do, and the fact that your father was a man. Of course, we all know what assuming gets you. We couldn't have known then, in those early mornings when we would share the stolen water and then tongue kiss as quietly as possible until even in the basement it was 100 degrees and we just couldn't handle the skin feeling of each other anymore, but we couldn't handle the sad feeling either. Because by then we knew our families had been murdered for their earthquake preparedness kits, and so we would take turns mercilessly pounding each other until we were so hot and so tired we didn't feel sad anymore. And then we would sleep feet to feet until nighttime. We couldn't have known then how much you wanted to be born. So we walked for weeks. We shot some people. Honey, we had to. Those reflective blankets turned out to be so useful while we were crossing the fires in eastern Oregon, and your father and I were young back then before the earthquake, so we scorned those preparedness kits. You can't buy kits like that now. I mean, you can't buy anything. And we would just go at it as hard as possible for as long as possible, all morning, every one of those days. And then, of course, your dad started feeling sick, and I just thought it was the airborne fast-acting syphilis that had mutated and was killing everyone still alive. But then his stomach started getting bigger, and that was never a symptom. And your father was always so skinny, and I just didn't know what it was. One night, we were up almost to Washington at this point. I was on my hands and my knees, and your dad was slapping my ass and giving it to me pretty hard, and I felt you kick. He had just come, I think, and he gave me one last slap and sort of slumped over on top of me, and there was this movement from his stomach on my back. That was you, baby, kicking your adorable little leg. When we finally accepted that this was a new world and we would just have to learn to adjust, that procreation was probably our purpose, especially now that 90% of the rest of the people were gone, well, we just embraced it and made sure that our machetes were sharp enough for surgery. I never told you this, sweet pea, but I delivered you with my own hands. And your father's machete. I found some books at a high school outside of what used to be Walla Walla. I never took biology, but after some studying, I decided you would be somewhere in your father's stomach, and then I figured the best angle to cut at, and then I shot a man for a needle and thread. I'm sorry, baby. Things were different back then. I remember pulling you out of your daddy's abdomen, all glowing. Yours was the first face I'd ever seen with 3 eyes. Even though I thought you looked kind of like a monster, especially with that one central leg and no discernible genitalia, I loved you, and I knew I couldn't shoot you for food. Of course, you were only a couple weeks old when we made it to Canada, and your dad finally succumbed to the airborne syphilis, but by then you had reached maturity and were bounding around on that perfect leg, sucking up cockroaches so quickly we never had to worry about breastfeeding. Yes, I miss your father, but we always agreed it was better to be dead. I'm so proud of you, honey. The way you figured out how to asexually reproduce, the way you tenderly show your babies how to pull the trigger on a gun so carefully with one of their 7 fingers, always aiming for the kneecaps, never the throat. You're so gentle with them. The world you repopulate will be a beautiful one, if devoid of any language I can understand. Now you know, baby, that I'm 32 this year, the oldest human being left on Earth. We've had a good run, sugar, but I know the symptoms of the airborne syphilis, and I feel that these are my last moments with you. Remember me, if you have memory, when you hum your monotone tunes to your baby at night, and when you find an old cache of bottled water. I love you, baby. Good luck with planet Earth. Woo!